Hey, what's up, gang? Weeaboo Wednesdays here with the sick top 10 list. Dark Souls is a game series that I hold very near and dear to my heart. I played my first Dark Souls game way back when I was like 10 years old, back in 1995. There's so many good Dark Souls to choose from, but I'm going to be narrowing it down to only 10 in this list. So, without any further ado, number 10, Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 2 is easily the weakest link of the Souls series, but I won't get too far into it. With its lackluster world design and boring boss fights and enemies, it's no secret as to why Dark Souls 2 is at the bottom of this list. Number 9, Dark Souls 3. Ooh, here's an unpopular opinion. Dark Souls 3 wasn't much better. At launch, I was disappointed that two key Dark Souls features were absent from this game: Power Stancing and the Desert Sorceress set. Dark Souls 3 ranks higher than 2 on this list, only because they brought the set back in the latest DLC. Number 8, Kingsfield 2. What is this, Minecraft? Kingsfield 2 was definitely one of the greatest games of its time. The effects of the game are still felt in the world today. If you've ever played a game featuring swords, or castles, or trees, you have Kingsfield to thank for it. Thank you, Kingsfield. While Kingsfield 2 is great, I'm reluctant to put it any higher on this list, seeing as Kingsfield 2 is definitely the Dark Souls 2 of Dark Souls. Or it's the Dark Souls of Kingsfield. Or is Dark Souls 2 the Kingsfield of Dark... Number 7, Pac-Man World 2. As a child I played, pardon my French, the heck out of Pac-Man World. I have to pay respects to the sequel because it brought so much more to the table. For instance, the number 2, World 2 is an excellent Souls game, but it definitely does not live up to the original Dark Souls. Speaking of which, number 6, Dark Souls 2. Even if Dark Souls 2 is the worst Souls game, I don't think it's as bad as everyone makes it out to be. It had a lot of great ideas. I kind of like the struggles of King Vendrick and the evil sister ladies and Gavlan and Power Stance. Number 5, Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin. Aldia is the coolest character in Dark Souls history, possibly ever. He's a giant flaming plant. He can't die. He's a burning bush.
He's literally God!
Definitely top waifu material. But that's a list for another time. Number 4, Final Fantasy X-2. Haha, what can I do for you? Wasn't the twist in Final Fantasy X that it was all a dream or something? Why was there a sequel? Why was there a sequel? Why was there a sequel?
Why was there a sequel?
Number 3, Link 2, The Adventure of Zelda. One of the first Dark Souls is Link 2 has you in control of the warrior Zelda as he walks sideways in an epic action platforming adventure. I don't think I finished writing this part. Number 2, Kingsfield 2 Japan. A major step up from Kingsfield Japan, Kingsfield 2 Japan is absolutely the definitive Kingsfield. It's got that tight Dark Souls level design, cryptic NPCs, skeletons, dragons, and ruinous boots. The true Kingsfield starts here. Alright, before we get through to number 1, here's a few honorable mentions that just barely didn't make the cut. Number 1, Dark Souls 2. I'm a big fan of an underdog story, and Dark Souls 2, if anything, is an underdog. People are always going on about how Dark Souls 3 is the true sequel to Dark Souls because they're so similar, and Dark Souls 2 is just fundamentally different, but they're wrong. Dark Souls is the different one. Open your eyes, people. Dark Souls 2 and 3 are literally the same game, except one has power stancing!